Thank you, everyone, for joining me here today in this room. First, we'll take a deep breath and give thanks to the Wonderland team for putting together this event. I'd like to start off just by giving a little bit background about myself as an individual and letting you know how I think you all in this room could play a role in helping us bring world peace immediately, as we know that's needed. I was born and raised a secular lifestyle, nothing to do with spirituality or plants or medicines or anything of the sort. And a lot of partying, an American lifestyle, a lot of drugs, a lot of hedonism, a lot of all the different clubs you can go to and all the experiences you could have. And it drains a person. It doesn't fill them up with any goodness. This American lifestyle that we were living and promoting. I was so fortunate enough when I was in high school. I ate some mushrooms with some friends and had an experience inside of my mind where I felt spirituality and the vision to do something for humanity. And for the last 18 years or so since that trip, I've been in a state of peace. That means there's no moods or frustration or anxiety. There's no ups or downs. It's just I'm enjoying planet Earth. I'm trying to be healthy. I'm trying to work on myself. But I'm experiencing it from a perspective of a state of peace. And I always wondered, why am I worthy for such peace? I look around me, everyone's suffering. Why do I have this peace inside of my brain? And I got the answer after a long journey. And the reason I had such joy and peace is because I was willing to accept and receive goodness from the universe and share it. And if you receive and give, if you receive and share, you actually feel good about it. So when America told us that we have the right to feel good and pursue these feelings of goodness, but at the same time they were teaching us how to invest in ourselves and get a yacht or a Lamborghini and, do things for yourself, they didn't really teach us that the real way to joy is to give and to share. So when I tapped into that and I realized this is why I'm so happy, because I've been giving and sharing this whole time as a rabbi and a shaman for the last 20 years, sitting with people in the plant medicine space who are experiencing mental health emergencies, suicide stuff, drug overdoses. You have first-line responders of people who know what plants are appropriate and not appropriate to give to alleviate symptoms of all this. So this is a form of giving. So here we are, and I want to open up an opportunity for whoever's in this room listening to me and whoever they're filming it and watching it on the internet to understand that we're opening up an opportunity for the whole world to participate in this giving and to sharing. When I had that experience, that spiritual experience when I was younger, I had a vision to get land in Israel. Why would I get land in Israel? I don't know. I'm just here trying to, blow some lines in a bathroom in a club. What am I talking about biblical prophecy and getting land in Israel? But that's what the mushrooms had in mind, and that was the thought that was implanted in my brain. And I ended up in 2012, after a long journey, getting a beautiful plot of land in Israel. And a few years ago, we started a DAO called Trippy.vc. It's a venture capital fund where people can contribute financially towards this vision of building a place in Israel for wellness, for healing. And a few years ago, I started this fund. People put in safe capital. We've since invested in companies in Israel. If you remember from last year's Wonderland conference, there was a guy, Itai Sai RX. They had a booth. They were producing psilocybin, DMT, and ibogaine in bioreactors in Israel laboratories with the Hebrew University, legally. And we have made an investment in that company, and we put up some capital on our land for infrastructure for humans to heal. And now we have permission from the government of Israel and from the Palestinian leadership to set up psychedelic field hospitals on this plot of land, and on a plot of land we're working on the Gazan border. So this would mean immediate compassion and psychedelic access towards the Middle East within the next month or so, starting treatments and ceremonies based on everything that's happening. What we do need, though, is from the world to participate with us and share in this mission with us. We've created a series of digital tokens that will represent ownership of a piece of this fund, a piece of the land of Israel, and a piece of peace. And at our booth, we have a QR code that people can scan, and they can participate if they so care to be involved and share with their family and friends that here is an opportunity that the universe has provided us to give to the Palestinian people, because we're all very concerned about them, and we're all scrolling on our phones about it, and we all have thoughts and cares. But I'm here as a representative for humanity to be a man on the ground and allow you to participate in this healing vision that we've proposed and has been approved, and now we just need humans to support it. So that was that part. Was there any questions? I like to do questions even though it's not formal, before I carry on. Okay, great. So let's continue just a little bit farther if you want to get something more interesting. There's an ancient legend. He's laughing because he's like, how could this get more interesting? I'm like, bro, we didn't even start yet. It can get extremely more interesting. I also do stand-up comedy when I'm not speaking about trying to save the planet. So, you know, we'll save that hat for another day because it's a war. I was actually in Jerusalem. I came here for the conference from Jerusalem. That means I was in my apartment as rockets were flying over my head, hiding with my wife and children from attacks and war and being in a bomb shelter, very scared, while at the same time being very concerned and compassionate for the Palestinian children who are in Gaza, who are living in an open prison cell, who are just like, what is this world about? So it's a really strange emotional feeling, being attacked and fearful, but also knowing that there are people being oppressed on the other side that you have to care and love. So that was where I'm emotionally coming from right now in addressing this, and why there's a need for an immediate intervention of plant medicines into the scenario in the Middle East. And here's where I think it gets a little interesting from my perspective. And by the way, just so everyone makes note who's in this room, who's watching this on the internet, and will share this video, there's peace on the ground between Arabs and Jews in Jerusalem. Meaning, if I order a taxi like an Uber, and the guy who comes to pick me up, his name is Abu Hamza, and he's an Arabic man, and I get in his taxi, and I look at him, and I'm like, are we cool? And you know what he says back to me? He says, we enjoy the freedom of democracy here in Israel. We get to go to malls, and my wife can drive a car, and my son can be gay, and all those things. We're very happy and comfortable over here. We absolutely do not want a jihad to roll through and mess with us. So the Arabs of Jerusalem and the Jews of Jerusalem are in a state of unity and peace. The media won't show you that. I can let you know that because I'm on the ground and I'm the guy ordering the Uber and the taxi and having these conversations with individuals. So that's why it's important to have connections. And this is why conferences like Microdose are important, where people can listen and learn and share. But let's get to the interesting part. Because thousands of years ago, there was a prophecy. Now, what is a prophecy? I don't know if anyone remembers my speech from last year, or if you're even following me on Instagram, but I recommend everyone do follow me on Instagram and get my speech from last year, because I was able to academically prove that the state of prophecy is directly connected to psychedelic plant medicine, the pineal gland, and to chemicals that the Israelites and the ancient Egyptians were messing around with at the time. So it's just tapping into a higher dimension. We don't know all about it yet, but whatever it is, there was prophecies back then that were written down of what would happen in the future. Now, in speaking about the future, it says there will be a redemption for humanity. A great healing will come to the land. But the healing is not going to be in the land for the Jewish people, and the Jewish people don't know this. There's like a secret weapon that gets pulled out at the end of time, and it's called the Lost Tribes of Israel. And I speak about this, on the internet, on YouTube. There's millions of views on TikTok, me talking about this. If you just type in Rabbi Harry and Lost Tribes, it's all over the world. People know about it. It's a mystery of a disappearance of 10 out of 12 tribes of the people of Israel, and in the future, they one day return and become present and known, and they activate world peace. And my grandfather's grandfather, great-great-grandfather, was Rabbi Eliyahu Kramer, the Vilna Gaon. a direct descendant from King David, from the house of Saul. We have a legend in our family that this tribe will be found at the end of times and come back and will unite with us and heal us. And so the research has been going on for 2,000 years looking for them. Now today, because of technology and the internet, we're so grateful we have access to the Pashtun people of Afghanistan, our brothers who are referred to, if you look at Wikipedia, as Bani Israel, the children of Israel, who have been there for 2,600 years, an untouched nation called the Graveyard of Empires. No one's ever able to conquer Afghanistan. They're the same people with the same traditions, claiming to be from the ancient house of Israel. And from the royal family of Afghanistan is this magical individual named Shaman Omar Ahmadzai. I don't know if anyone's familiar with him. He's an ayahuasquero. He serves ayahuasca and plant medicine to celebrities and royalty around the world. That means he's being flown on private jets to kings and queens in the Middle East and sitting with our celebrities that we watch in the movies and doing ceremonies with them. He's on Instagram with a blue check. His name is Shaman Omar. You could follow him. He's a real human. He got in touch with me maybe a year or so ago, and the people who were working with, he was on a mission to help heal children of PTSD from rape and trauma victims from the Jewish community. They paid him to do some work. And I said, wait a minute, guys, you found this amazing shaman to do some healing work here with the PTSD. Do you see his last name, Ahmadzai? They said, yeah, what about it? I said, do you know what it means? They said, no. I said, he's from the royal family of Afghanistan. This man comes from kings and queens for 2,600 years from the line of King Saul. And the Jewish people looked at me like I was crazy. And then I looked at Shaman Omar, and he was like, I know. This is my family's history. And he looked at me and said, we've been waiting for you. And I said, my great-grandfather was looking for your family. And he says, we've been looking for your family. And I'm like, and you're the world's greatest shaman? And he's like, yeah. I didn't believe it. I obviously had to sit in on a ceremony. Yes, he is the greatest shaman. He's the master healer. He's got the power to heal and bring back sensitivity into the minds of humanity and love and a frequency of being able to receive, to give. He has the power to do it, and he happens to come specifically from a bloodline and a family from an ancient prophecy that says this man will come and deliver peace. So I'm in an incredible state of perpetual fascination of the whole story that's unfolding over here. I see that it's somewhat miraculous, that the psychedelics have their own life force, that they're alive, and they have an agenda to heal the planet, and we're happy to be participants and play a role. It was so interesting because I'm popping up this field hospital and we're bringing in Shaman Omar, and everyone's like, wait a minute, you can't do some shamanistic hocus pocus stuff. This is real life trauma. This is like serious stuff. We need doctors and therapists and professionals. We need organizations like MAPS. And I'm like, yeah, that makes sense. MAPS is a great organization. And I was thinking about it. I said, you know what? The CFO of MAPS, Andrew Septimus, Mo Septimus, is my best friend. I was eating mushrooms with that guy when we were in high school partying together. He's my man. And Rick Doblin's my guy. We hang out when he's in Jerusalem, and he's like a genius, and we're friends. I'm like, I know MAPS. MAPS was founded within a few hours of the day I was born in 1986. So I'm like, Rick, I'm connected to you guys. You guys have all the infrastructure, all the minds and the therapists and the scientists and all the research. Why don't we host the campgrounds? We'll raise some capital through our campaign right now, through people giving us $12 to participate in world peace, and we'll give MAPS front row seats to being able to do all the psychological studies needed on this campgrounds. So here I've laid out for you, in under 20 minutes, a plan for immediate world peace resolution and conflict resolution that could be received by humanity. And my call to action, again, is to remind everyone to perhaps follow me on Instagram and stop by our booth and share the link and share the QR code with everyone, because I don't want to go back to Israel in 5 or 6 days and have to go back to a bomb shelter. I want to go back and be able to give some psychedelic plant medicines to some Gazan civilians and let them know that humanity is with us and there will be healing that will come and war will be a thing of the past, as our prophets have once told us. And we will no longer allow our food and our water and our medicines to profit for-profit ventures where people could buy yachts and sail around the Mediterranean Sea with prostitutes and cocaine in a bad state of mental health and then have to call me to help them heal because they're not feeling well. Well, I'm trying to explain to this man on his yacht as I'm healing him that you may be part of the reason that the world's a little screwed up, and we have to decentralize a little bit and make sure communities have local access to electricity production, water filtration, and medicine. And so while I have my time left, I'm happy to announce how I even got into Israel in the first place and got into the government, and why I'm able to have on my Instagram page photos of myself and the Prime Minister of Israel and Mansour Abbas, the leader of the Palestinian movement people, is because for the past 10 or 12 years, I've been creating maps and connections and roadworks with my brothers and sisters in Afghanistan. And in Afghanistan today, you have 50 million people crying for help, and no one is listening. The Pashtun brothers, they're under severe persecution, and they're suffering. So I created maps, and I had not Maps, the psychedelic organization, a literal map of the Afghanistan where humans can go and participate in donating to specific villages there to bring them clean water, electricity, and technology, and access to medicines. So far to date, we have 30,000 villages in Afghanistan we've mapped out of humans who want to participate in this global family and get away from radical Islamic Sharia law. And we could discuss religion, obviously, after there's world peace. And and we're going to be opening up an opportunity for humanity through our network to directly take the seeds that they're purchasing today for $12 from us to build our psychedelic field hospital and plant them in Afghanistan. And we'll start to bring some capital together towards our brothers and sisters in Afghanistan to help them heal. And we'll make a statement to the world that some of these regions that are experiencing conflict because of the borders that were set up by the British are destabilizing tribes that have been using plant medicines and living off the land indigenously for thousands of years in a state of peace. And you've come in and messed up some things with some central banks and some borders, and it's not okay. So we have to have peer-to-peer contact with humanity right now at this point and discuss these matters and decentralize. And we don't need anyone's permission to do it. I don't need anyone's permission to make a little rig in my backyard to convert light into electricity or to filter water or to grow some medicine. If we need people's permission for that, then we're under attack. And if we're under attack, we need to unite as humanity to understand what we're up against. Because if we're divided and conquered, if someone's looking at me like I'm a Jew and he's an Arab and he's black and he's white and he's gay and he's straight, if we've been divided and conquered because of terminologies, then the people on those yachts will continue to sail around depressed, not enjoying their brains. You understand what I'm saying? So we have an opportunity here at this conference over the next 3 days to change the course of human history. If our campaign gets shared and people participate and give me and the love we need and support we need. So I thank you for that. Yeah, we could do a little micro clap. Thanks. I appreciate it. It's so funny because you walk around this convention center and everyone's trying to spray you with their samples of something. So I may or may not be microdosing on every single different psychedelic chemical on the planet that I got sprayed on my way here. That will be up for you to decide if as I spoke. Because as we know, a lot of grand things happened in human history under the influence of these plant medicines. A lot of discoveries and contributions have been made. And I hope humbly to be a part of this legacy of a human being who was influenced by our plants, of our planet's plants. And I'm contributing forward, and I hope everyone else can say, I too want to be on this chain of humans who were affected by the plants and affected humanity, and we will collectively do it together as a family with love between ourselves, if that makes sense. And if we could all say Amen. Thank you. I'm going to take now, I see there's only 5 minutes left. I actually could talk for hours, believe it or not, and I could choose if I want to make sense or not make sense, or if I want to tell jokes or not tell jokes. Whatever it is, there will still be words coming out of my mouth, and I'll still continue to talk and still entertain humans somehow. I can't explain it. But since there's only 5 minutes left and I don't have hours to ramble on to you guys and entertain everyone, we'd like to just take a moment, because what I've discovered is that there's collective consciousness, that if you're in a rowboat and you have a paddle and you paddle, what happens? You go in circles by yourself. But let's say I take a brother or a sister next to me on the rowboat, and he or she has a paddle, and now there's 2 people paddling. Guess what happens? You go forward. Now I put 10 people in that rowboat, we're flying. So the same thing works with our thoughts. If we have collective thoughts at the same time, it actually has an effect in the heavens and the constellations that affects humanity. So I would like to do a thought that we could think together to close this off and send a message to the heavens for however many people hear this. And this will be an actual good use of time for listening to other humans' diarrhea out of their mouth on microphones and trying to get their dreams across to another group of humans. So before I do that, I just want to share a quick teaching from one of my rabbis who've lived hundreds of years ago, who wrote a book named Rabbi Nachman. He was a mystic. He said, you know how you bend metal? Scientifically, if you bend metal so fast and rapidly, the middle of the metal ends up heating up and gets very hot, because motion creates heat, right? We know this. So he says the same thing applies with your mind and your thoughts. If you think thoughts in a rapid motion, a heat is created. Where is that heat created? Not here, not in your mind. In a constellation somewhere very far away, you cause heat, and you cause an outburst, some type of explosion, so to say, of rays of light. And you know where those rays of light go? They travel from the cosmos onto our planet, onto us. So just like rain precipitates, rain from the water evaporates into the air and goes and turns into clouds and comes right back down and turns into water, so too as our thoughts get sent up to the cosmos, and it manifests into some form of cloud, and then it explodes and comes back down in the form of the reality that we're living in. We are manifesting our reality, and this is what the ancient Egyptians knew. This is what the ancient Israelites knew. This is what all the ancient nations knew. People who don't want you to know this are the people who are still sailing around on their yachts depressed, who own companies who have put fluoride in our toothpastes, for example, which we know now, and you should go to Google, is a Nazi German chemical that was used to calcify pineal glands, our antenna to the dimensional cosmos, and to shut it down. And we're still consuming these products, and we're trying to have good breath so we could be appealing to another human in a conversation. But this has got to stop. We have to wake up immediately and realize we have spiritual technology inside of our minds. It's in our Torah. It's in our texts. It's in our history. It's in the writings on the wall. So now that I have 1 minute left, I would like to set time for this mindful meditation where we could all collectively hope and wish that this planet could be a wonderful planet of peace and love, that there are no religions and nations and borders that separate. We are the custodians of the ground, and we live and we share this earth together. And there is enough resources to go around for abundance for everyone to have. And there's enough medicine. And we literally can enjoy the next 1,000 years on this planet in a state of ecstasy, dancing and singing without having to pay taxes to drink poisonous water. So let's close our eyes and take a deep breath right now and send this message up to the universe and say there's potentially a plan in motion here over the next 3 days with my brother, Rabbi Harry, to launch these psychedelic healing villages in Israel and plant massive seeds of change that will shift the consciousness of humanity and to enter into a stage of everlasting peace and love on this earth. Amen. And maybe I'm crazy. I may be. But we have absolutely nothing to lose to suggest this pathway that I've just suggested, over this last half hour. As I'm looking at the clock, there's only 10 seconds left. So I don't even have enough time to tell you my favorite joke, which was so funny. You'll have to find me later, and I'll tell it to you. Stop by my booth. Amen. 3, 2, 1. Thank you, Patrick. You're the man. No, this is the man. Everyone stand up and give Patrick a round of applause. He puts on the conference. He doesn't sleep. He makes sure that this whole world is going to get healed on his suffering. And he's just like, he doesn't even know. We'll have to remind him who he really is. I love you, bro. My time is over. I would do a mic drop moment and drop the mic, but I might want to break someone else's microphone, so I don't know if mic dropping is like morally okay to break people's microphones to make a statement. So I'm just going to gently do a mic drop.